Hey guys, this is Ryan, Rigs of Death Metal. Today we're going to be checking out the Uruk set from Corrigan Pickups. Let's hear them. Okay, we're going to try something kind of new here. Got a little lab mic. We're just going to go over, try to dial in some different tones here using the, this is my old Ibanez RG I've had since I was like 15. It's not going to get that clean of a clean tone, if you know what I mean. I'm using this Friedman. It's a clone by Heretic Effects of the Friedman BE OD Deluxe, which is like a 2-channel preamp slash distortion. I'm running it like a preamp. And I got channel 1 set up kind of like this. Yeah. Nothing wrong with like cool clean tones or anything like that. Like I love the Metallica Justice for All clean tone, you know, one. There's all that, but honestly, most of the time I like a little bit of a pushed clean tone. But none of y'all are really that interested in the clean tone anyway. I just wanted to show you what it sounded like and that these pickups sound great if you're into that kind of thing. But as you can see here, I'm running the Friedman through this old Mossfowl power amp I've had a while. These things are killer. About volume wise, it's about the equivalent of like a 60-watt tube amp, but they run off MOSFET transistors. Running it through my, I guess it's not in the frame here, my Marshall Mode 4 cabinet. And I got it mic'd with a Sennheiser E609. So let's go ahead and switch over and turn on the noise gate. And this is the overdrive channel. Yeah. if you guys have ever played any of the Friedman stuff, it's reminiscent of some modified Marshall. You know, that it's that kind of idea, right? Modded Marshalls. That's where Dave Friedman started off, but you know, a little bit darker. So I'm only telling you this. Obviously, it's not a demo for the pedal. We're trying to demo these pickups. I'm just giving you that for some kind of frame of reference to, you know, for what you're hearing with these pickups. Let's go ahead and kick on the overdrive. And this will literally be, I used a different cab IR, but I was using this kind of pedal board rig direct into my DAW, or my DAW, whatever, Studio One. And I used a digital cab in there. I don't even remember. What did I use? Doesn't matter. Yeah, the response off these is great. It's definitely, you know, not super compressed or anything like that. Just I don't know. For me, pickups are kind of like a personal thing. Um, I'm not like some people where I treat it like it's some drastic EQ change, because it usually isn't. Maybe a little tiny bit. For me, it's way more of a feel and the response under your fingers and overall, of course, output, you know. Better not play the rest of that tune. But yeah, I love these. They're not overly aggressive in any particular like spiked frequency or too boomy, nothing like that. Very aggressive without being like piercing or shrill or harsh to the ear. But again, this is also kind of a darker distortion tone, so grain of salt. Yeah. Okay, guys. Got to hear the pickups in the context of a mix. You got to hear them by themselves, just kind of playing in the room. We already went through kind of the signal chain here, so just kind of going over the specs of the pickups. If I remember correctly, I'll put up the actual, you know, details or specs from the Corrigan listing somewhere over here. But if I remember right, bridge is a ceramic 8 magnet, roughly around 21.5K on the output, which if you've ever played a DiMarzio X2N, which I used to have a guitar that had one, cool pickup, similar output, but tonally very, very different from the X2N. The X2N had like this very, very scooped, super bright top end. A lot of hallmarks that are usually associated with really, really high output pickups. The low end can be a little bit kind of boomy and muddy. Angmar is incredibly balanced for being as high output as it is. And the neck pickup, I think is like an Alnico 2. It's definitely an Alnico magnet, and it's about half the output of the bridge, but it's switching from bridge to neck. There's no like jarring cut in volume or output or anything like that. It feels very, very balanced again. I guess the biggest takeaway from the Angmar, the Uruk set. Angmar is another pickup set from Corrigan that I actually haven't even tried yet, so I don't know why I keep mixing it up. But one hallmark of the Uruk set that I've noticed is just how well balanced it is for being as high output as it is. And it's very versatile. I can get a very aggressive, very like great sounding response, a great feeling response under my hands as I'm playing. It's not overly compressed though. It's like this weird sweet spot. Like, for me, when it comes to pickups, the response and feel under your hands is the main thing, right? Like, most pickups have, brighter, darker kind of character, whatever. They're not an EQ, as some people like to harp on about. And that's true, but they all do have like a distinct kind of character, but that's usually kind of dialed out pretty easily with your amp, pedals, whatever else you got going on. Overall guitar construction, I won't say tone wood, but just the overall construction of the guitar. Like what kind of bridge? Is it a floating bridge? Is it a tunematic? Things like that. All these little things kind of play into the overall feel of when you're playing. You as a guitar player, actually sitting there playing the guitar, you are going to notice so many more things than somebody that's listening to it. Somebody sitting across from you, just listening, will not notice a lot of these things. That's something that gets neglected a lot in that conversation. I just wanted to throw that out there. With that said, probably shouldn't dwell on it too much because nobody else is going to pick up on it but you, as long as you're having a good time. Anyway, about these pickups. Been talking to Podrick from Corrigan for a little while now. We featured another pickup set, the Fuckbucker. Featured that a while back, and I actually have a couple of those now. And great pickup. These are somehow meaner and more balanced at the same time. I don't know a better way to emphasize that. I believe these all use like recycled materials, so that's pretty cool too. Just an added thing. These are handmade out of Canada. And I'm trying to think, he has a good variety of pickups built up now. I'm not even sure how many models he has. With that said, you are going to be seeing more demos of Corrigan in the near future, and other brands too. But I am going to be endorsed by Corrigan from here on out. Heathen Guitar Works has decided to forego their pickup manufacturing, which is where my signature set was. If you saw that video for the Surtur set, those are gone now. I still have a couple. They're great. But moving forward, um, for various projects and things like that, I'm going to be utilizing Corrigan pickups mainly for my band Gorthauer. For all my tracking, I plan on using probably the Fuckbucker, um, and a custom pickup that Arcana has wound for me. There'll be a video coming on that down the here pretty soon, I hope. But yeah, with that said, hope you like what you heard. Corgan's a great pickup company. Podrick is a really cool dude. Really like the products. Some cool options as far as like some not to the moon crazy customization options, but a good variety to fit whatever guitar you're trying to work with, like reasonable. Um, yeah, hope I'm not sure exactly on the price of these right now, especially if you're in the States like me buying Canadian. Things are a little crazy right now, but I believe, you know what? I'll include the link down below. You can go check it out yourself. You can talk to Podrig, get the full rundown on that whole business. Um, but I can promise you, uh, over top of the other brands that you could be buying off the shelf, like Seymour Duncan, DiMarzio, whatever, these have way more character to them. Uh, Aesthetically, all the ones I have looked pretty cool. I'll include some pictures there too. Um, it puts a lot of thought into that, into the aesthetic as well as the tone. They just give me more than a lot of the stuff I've been able to find off the shelf, because I just played Duncans and DiMarzios and stuff like that before I started working with some of these smaller brands. All these smaller brands, and my base platform for judging pickups is usually like an EMG 81 or like a Duncan JB, right? The Uruk bridge pickup is its own thing. It's hard for me to compare it to anything other than maybe, like I said, output wise like an X2N, but tonally it's not like that at all. Um, just balanced. That's all I can give you. Um, However you dial in your tone, you're not going to have to overcompensate for like a boomy low end or a scratchy top end or way too much mids or nothing like that. It just does what it needs to do, and it just stays out of your way to dial in your amp pedals, whatever you got. The neck pickup does have, I can give you a little bit better frame of reference with that. As far as neck pickups go, it's usually, for me, on one end of the spectrum is a Duncan Jazz, very like a lot of bass response, very fat and rounded sounding. Um, and then on the other end of that spectrum would be the Duncan 59, which is a very bright neck pickup, very bubbly, and all your notes kind of pop through. Still more rounded than the bridge pickup, but you know, uh, definitely more. If you want your notes to really pop through and be heard, 59. If you like that more fluid kind of, smooth lead sound, probably more the Jazz. The Uruk neck pickup is sort of in the middle, but leaning more towards the Jazz. It's definitely got that rounded thing going on, but it's still brighter than the Jazz, which to me is cool. That's like perfect. I like, I spent a lot of years practicing to a metronome. I would like my notes to be heard, but I still like the sound of the smooth, kind of rounded off leads. Because I like a lot of 80s and 90s shred stuff, With that said, yeah, killer pickup set. Definitely want to hold on to these. A lot of fun. They just work. And yeah, I can't think of a mainstream pickup set that really nails passive, that is, I guess if you could maybe want to compare it to something, maybe the Fishman Fluence set, which those are active pickups, right? Where they're a lot more balanced sounding than like an EMG 81, right? They're not super compressed. They don't have like a weird, scoop mids or bright top and nothing like that, you know? Uh, Somewhat inoffensive, but harmonic, like pinch harmonics, all those things, they just pop out clear as day. Great high gain tone. And they work great with clean tones too. I know I didn't do much of a clean tone demonstration, more like a bluesy thing, but you'll have to take my word for it because I didn't feel like tracking a cool clean tone. Um, so yeah, that said, really enjoyed these. Check out Corrigan. I'm done rambling. Thank you, Podrick, for sending these to us. Um, you'll be seeing a lot more of them on the channel in the future. Like, share, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 all the YouTube stuff. I genuinely do appreciate it. I'm just bad at self-promotion. If you want to check out a Rigs of Death Metal t-shirt or something, we got links down below. Just follow our link tree. We got digital products too, like Kemper profiles, cab IRs. We got tons of stuff. And it all goes to help supporting the channel, and we make more content for you. All that said, I've been Ryan. Thank you all. See you next time. Peace.